In part one, we tackled the problems causing the intermittent sound and repaired the input select and record select switches, as well as general cleanup, and found some components in the preamp board that had failed. So in this episode, the conclusion, we're going to track down that preamp problem and fix this one for good. Now, one of the reasons I broke the other one at the 1 hour mark, or just under the 1 hour mark, is one, is getting too long, and this is quite a complex circuit. So we're going through the negative feedback circuit on this one. And as you can see, I tracked it down to one of these little red capacitors here. Just by measuring the resistance across the capacitor, I should see quite a high resistance. On one of them, I saw DC resistance on this one cap. So that makes me suspect that maybe this cap is causing a problem, kind of like that Technics tuner problem that had a bad cap in the display, and it was causing the display to be out. In that case, that capacitor actually shorted. In this case, this capacitor here has gone resistive, and the ESR has gone up on it. Now, these are bipolar capacitors, 1 microfarad, and what it does is it controls the negative feedback into that 2SK240Q2102. It controls the gain of the amplifier by monitoring the output voltage. I know that kind of seems odd for a preamp to have a gain monitor, but it does. It's not working like an automatic level control, though. It's just providing a set amount of gain, and each one of them is independent. Anyway, let's pick this one up, and let's see if we can get this unit working. Well, it's a 1 microfarad. It's a bipolar cap, but it's a 1 at 50. And I'm getting like 0.03. Yeah, it looks a little low. It's supposed to be 1 microfarad. Wonder how the ESR looks on this. That could certainly do it, because it is in the feedback circuit that affects the gain. It's open. Completely open. Let's just try putting a regular cap in there. I don't have a bipolar. I could put two 2 microfarad in series, but let's just put a regular one in there and see whether it fixes the gain problem. And then when I'm picking up the Zehners, I can get another one of these. I should probably replace both of these at the same time. Okay, so I just put the cap on here. Remember how loud the right channel was before? That's our problem. So this cap here, C2118, has gone open. So what I got to get the Zener diodes for this thing tomorrow. I'm going to change both of these ones, and I think I'll probably change the other ones as well. I'll probably change all the red ones in here. For that matter, I gotta make a trip down to get the Zehners. I'm just gonna shut this thing off because, as you can hear, it's working. And I'm in moving magnet mode. Moving coil mode works too. So I think what I'll do is, since I have to make a special trip in to get the 2 Zener diodes, these are bipolar caps. I'm going to get, if I can get some, I'm going to get some bipolar caps. These Elna audio grade ones. I'll get all of them. Both of these ones. These ones here, these ones, and I think I'll probably change these ones down here as well. Another thing I just noticed on here is glue, circuit glue. Circuit glue that has gone bad. So we're going to scrape this crap out of here too. This circuit glue is just, this stuff is terrible. It's got to go. anytime you see this circuit glue, it's got to get removed, because it will do nothing but cause you headaches down the road. That's probably what was causing this amp to go into shutdown intermittently. The circuit glue. Maybe when the humidity changed a bit, and the conductivity of it changed a little bit because the humidity changed, it was triggering my protection circuit. But while I'm at it, I'll probably just change these caps too. I'll do the high voltage ones and the red ones for sure. The cap that caused the problem, this problematic one, this little red one here that's gone open, is this one here, C2118. There's another one up here, C2117, which is for the left channel. And what this does is this sets the gain of the preamp. How it works, it's kind of like an automatic gain control. You kind of started to think about the idea of an automatic gain control on a hi-fi receiver. I mean, how is that even possible? What do you need it for? Well, because there are different levels of cartridges that are on the market. And regardless whether it's a moving coil or a moving magnet cartridge, there are different impedance levels. This switch over here, for example, we can look at it on this circuit over here, because we've got this one's kind of cut off. But on the left channel, this circuit here selects moving magnet or moving coil. In the moving coil mode, what you will see is it actually puts a 100 ohm resistor to ground. It actually lowers the already low signal from a moving coil cartridge, because the moving coil cartridge needs to be put under a bit of a load. And it also, of course, it grounds out this leg here, which changes the resistance, adds more gain. This is all part of the equalization circuit. What happens is the signal from the phono comes in. If we look at the dark traced lines here, this is the signal path. So signal comes in to the gate of this FET. It's a dual FET, so there's two of them in one package. And that signal is amplified, and it's sent to the input to the actual preamp IC. This is where all the equalization and stuff takes place. The signal's fed out from the output of the amplifier, which is pin number 7, and it will travel on its way over towards the input selector switch, which is what's connected over to here. This goes to the input selector switch. It's also passed through C2117 and C2118. So the signal also passes through this way. C2109, 2111, R2123, R2121, R2125, C2105, and what was the other one? 2117. They form the RIAE equalization curve. So what this does is this varies the gain to the preamp based on the frequency that it's detected off pin 7. It forms part of the negative feedback along with R2127. This is your negative feedback. So what this does is this actually changes the gain of the amplifier depending on the frequency of the signal passing through it. The intent is to change all these red capacitors because they're ELNA. And while I was there, I figured, you know what, I'll pick up the other ones as well. And we'll change all the caps in the audio circuit on this, except for the two large ones, because first of all, they didn't have stock of them, but also they're quite expensive. And I don't think there's anything wrong with them. But I'll change the 100 microfarad 160s, the 6 of them. We got those. I got all the parts. Well, at least I thought I got all the parts. I'll be going off on a bit of a rant here, just due to the whole COVID thing and trying to get parts in the store. But I'll leave that because I'm going to go off on this in a minute. You just know it when I open up the bag and find that they've given me the wrong parts. So first we're going to replace the two Zener diodes. These are the 20 volt regulators for the op amp. So the op amp has its positive and negative 20 volt split supply for the IC. That's all they're for, is for the IC, so that it has a stable voltage supply. So I got two 20 volt 1 watt, overkill, half watt would have been fine, but two 20 volt 1 watt Zeners to go in there, and that'll fix that part of the amplifier. And then we're going to do the caps. Going to turn on my monitor there so that I can see I'm expecting someone, so that I can see when they arrive. Yes, I still use an old CRT to monitor my cameras. And it's been in operation since I think 2006. It's not new, it's very old. I think I've told this one before, but it was the last, I think probably the last TV that the Walmart sold. My old TV, packed it in, that I was using as a monitor, and I was looking for a new one. And I could have fixed the old set, it's just that the picture tube itself was very badly burned, and the emission was really quite low. So I was just, rather than fix it, I just went looking for a replacement. And I walked into one of the Walmarts that was a relatively new store at the time, and of course everything was all flat panel. We still had analog broadcasting here in Canada in 2006, so they were clearing out these TVs, and I picked it up for I think $49, brand new. For a brand new 21-inch flat square tube. I thought, well, this is a pretty good deal. So I bought it, and I put it in service, and I actually had it in the house, sitting on top of my refrigerator, and above the cabinet, and it fit perfectly between that and the ceiling, with about an inch to spare. So I left it there for many years, just displaying the security cameras, and it's all burned. Like the phosphorus is all burned on it, the screen, but it still works. It's got thousands upon thousands of hours. And then I was given a 20-inch LCD set, 4x3 display. So I swapped this out for the LCD, and it's been in place ever since, and brought this one out to the shop. So it doesn't get as much hours on it now, but I still turn it on when I'm working out here. Still displays a good picture. Okay, we'll do one of these red caps down here first. Whichever ones these ones are. Bipolar. And we'll just change all the red caps, and I've got some to replace these ones as well, just because they're Elna. They're not anything special, though. They aren't bipolar caps or anything. They're just regular 85 degree. So I think the ones I got might be 105, but they're just regular power supply ones, so no issue there. Where's this one I just took out? Rolled under the set, of course. This one is 47 at 16 volts. And I think this is the one I had to get axial leads because they didn't have any radio. Yeah, they're 63 volts is all I could get. Hopefully that won't make too much of a difference in the sound. It probably will, but all I could get was axial. Nothing in this size. Rant in 3, 2, 1. And That son of a bitch. These are marked as bipolar caps, but they're not. They're not bipolar caps. Oh well, I guess I'm not changing those ones. They're on the rack that was mounted as in the bipolar caps, and the label on it says BP. But they're not. Wonder what other ones aren't. You know, this is the whole problem with this whole COVID that we're dealing with now. Nobody wants you in their store for more than 5 minutes. They rush you to get you out of the store because they can only have a couple people in. The board's not even marked as a bipolar cap, by the way. Look, it's got a positive and negative on here. But they are bipolar caps. So I could probably put those other ones in and they would work fine. But I'll just leave these ones in because I don't think they're bad. I'd like to change them. I'm not making another special trip back, but that's the problem. You go into the store, they got a sign on the door, 3 people maximum. You got to put on your little hospital mask, and the staff is running off their feet. They don't want you lingering around in the store looking for things. So as soon as you walk in, yeah, I got a list. This is what I need. I need this. And the guy says, okay, come over here. And he's picking them all, right? He's picking the packages off the shelf. And okay, yeah, got this, got this, got this. Okay, and then you go over to the register and you pay for it and you leave. You're doing this because you're just trying to get out of there quickly. Because they want to get other people in the store. And they got people standing outside wanting to come in. And when you're rushed like that, mistakes get made. I specifically said the 47 microfarad caps I need. 2 for 25 and 2 for 16, which he didn't have. He gave me 63 volts, gave me a pack of 4. I distinctly said I need them to be bipolar. And he hands them to me, and I didn't even look at them before I left the store. So I didn't get 4 of the caps that I wanted. So those ones won't get changed, but the rest of them will. Okay, where are the other ones? These are the bipolar ones here. One of them is the one that was causing the problem. Much smaller than the original ones, aren't they? Not that that matters, because everything gets smaller as they improve them. Okay, and I'm going to change the big caps for the power supply. These ones here. Yeah, 160 volts, so these ones here. We'll change those ones out. There's 6 of them. So we'll start out with these ones here. See how they look on the bottom? That's just circuit glue. The cap itself actually isn't leaking. That's just the circuit glue that they had on it. take a look at the board and see what I got to clean up there on top. Yeah, there's some circuit glue. I gotta clean up the mess where they glued these things in before. You see, it's the circuit glue that is a problem. That goes conductive and causes leakage. So I gotta get that out of there. As you can see, so these are the ones I'm changing here. I'm going to pull all 4 of them out, or all 5 of them out. The 5 remaining ones, and then we'll clean up the board and replace all 6 of them. You can see the mess that this stuff leaves behind. And a note, I listened to this amp closely before changing the caps, and I listened to it again after, and I noticed no difference in the sound quality. It's exactly the same. So there was nothing wrong with the original caps that were 35 years old. I'm most concerned with it just being around where there's conductors on top of the board. If it's not touching anything that's conductive, then it's not going to cause any problems. It's just if it's touching against any other bare metal pieces, such as here, then that's where you run into trouble with this circuit glue. But if it's not touching anything that's conductive, then it doesn't really matter. These obviously are polarity sensitive. Just changing out some of the other caps in the audio circuit. Not changing the non-polarized ones though, because I didn't get any. It would be nice, but as I say, the store kind of was in a hurry to get me out of there and didn't spend the required time to verify that I had the right parts. Of course, I'm partly to blame because I didn't look at them when he put them in the bag. The clerk picked them and carried them up to the counter for me, so I didn't actually look at them at the time of sale, and didn't look at them until I got home. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not driving all the way back down to the electronics shop. Okay, I got 4 of these ones have been replaced with 220 at 10 volt. 4 of them have been replaced. There's a couple of, I think they're 1 microfarad at, what are they? 1 microfarad at 16 volts, I believe. There's 2 more of them I think that are going to change out. And then that'll do it for this one. So the last 2 I'm going to change are these ones here. There's 1 there, and there's 1 over there. I've just changed out these 4 and these 6. These are ones in the audio circuit. These other ones here are just in the protection circuit, so not too concerned about those. I would have liked to have changed these 2 red ones and these 2 red ones over here. I would like to have changed those, but another day. Okay, that's it. All the caps have been changed. We'll put the bottom on this thing now, as I don't think I need to have the bottom plate off of it anymore. I like this design. ease of service. Let's put some music through this thing on the CD input. We'll see how it sounds, and then I'll hook up a turntable and we'll see how vinyl sounds through here using my, of course, crappy speakers that I've got in the shop here. With any luck, this thing will not go boom. I'm going to turn it on. Phono input. No noise. I'm going to put the top on it and hook up a turntable. Now, don't mind the noise that this turntable is going to make, okay? It's not a very good one. It's a junk, very cheap. This is just what I use for testing in the workshop. It's one of my many turntables. I'm going to pull my SLM1 out of my office and bring it into the shop and do a service on it because the pitch control is not working on it. If you want to see a nice turntable, the SLM1 is probably one of the best that Technics ever made. That and the 1200. The 1200 was the automatic version. The SLM1 was a full manual DJ quality turntable with pretty much instant starting. I think it gets up to full speed within 1/3 of a turn. So you can stop it, back cue it, and hit the button to start it, and it's going at full speed within 1/3 of a turn. And it's a nice piece of equipment, but it's old and it's getting, well, I wouldn't say it's getting tired, but I think the pitch control is kind of a bit foobar on it. So we're going to have to address that, and maybe some deoxit will fix it. Anyway, let's see if this thing works. Nice noisy motor, huh? Oh, I just love all the snaps and crackles and pops of vinyl. By the way, this is not my record. This is not representative of how I care for my records. This was one that was given to me, so that's how I got it. But my amplifier is fixed. My Luxman LV103 is once again sounding like it did when it was new, or close to it. It's one of the best sounding amplifiers that I've ever owned, is this one. Thanks in part to the vacuum tubes in the preamp stage. This is why high-end amplifiers, you go and spend huge dollars buying amplifiers from companies like PS Audio, not giving them a plug or anything, it's just that I know that they have high-end amps. And you'll find that their high-end amps have couple vacuum tubes in the front end to warm it up, which is something that Luxman was doing 36 years ago. That's how old this is. Original tubes too. Original US made tubes have never been changed. This amp has tens of thousands of hours. There was many times where I would just leave this thing turned on. Like I'd forget to turn it off and I would just leave it powered up. The last, I don't know, 20 years, I would say it's been in my studio, and has been using it for all the studio equipment that I've got that I want to run to my speakers or headphones. And I would just leave it turned on. Sometimes I would turn it off and put it in standby mode, have the preheating turned on, and just leave the tubes preheating. But there was other times where I would just totally forget it was on, and it would be on, running 24 hours a day. So it has tons and tons and tons of hours on this unit. And the only problems I've ever had with it was I had a couple of those caps that went bad in the preamp board before, that were changed out a few years ago and apparently went bad again. And the preamp, the phono preamp. The phono preamp went bad a number of years ago, so I stopped using the phono preamp and just started running my turntable through an external tube preamp, and then driving it into one of the auxiliary inputs. That and the switches. The switches have been an ongoing issue. They've been cleaned. This is probably the third or fourth time I've had to take this apart over the years and clean the input switches. It was a weak link on these units, and it's a repeated problem. So hopefully it will be good for a while. I'm going to take this in the house and probably hook it up to my big Technics SB, is it SB 7000? I think those are the model number of them, the big ones. Probably hook it up to those. They're hooked up to my little Chinese equivalent of an ST70 now, and they sound great. But I might hook this one up as well, so I have the choice as to whether I want to have a full tube sound or the hybrid sound with the punchiness of the solid state, because that's where these excel. Is they've got the punchiness of a transistor amp. Moving coil, moving magnet. Anyway, this video is dragged on long enough. I know I'm going to get people complaining about it being too long, and I might make a shortened version cutting out all the interesting stuff just for those people that are just so damn impatient that they can't sit through a long video. Anyway, I felt this one needed to be long because there was a lot that had to be done on this. This was some serious troubleshooting. No thanks to this crappy schematic that I printed up, because you print up schematics and it's impossible to read them. Because these were originally, unless you get in real close, these were originally multi-page manuals that were spread out, and when people scanned them and put them up on websites like Hi-Fi Engine, which is where this came from incidentally, they condensed them down and even printed at high resolution. They're really tough to read, so I had to take it and cut a section of it out and blow it up just to make it a little bit easier to figure out what was going on. But anyway, this one was quite involved with this feedback circuit to find why that transistor had so much gain. But there it was, one little capacitor that went bad. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.